What's going on, Vapor fans? Welcome back to another episode of Item Spotlight. Today, we're going to be talking about the Innokin Kroma-A. So, the Innokin Kroma-A is an upgraded version to the original Innokin Kroma, right? So, we will be doing a comparison of these two models today. So, to find out exactly what is the difference between the two, you're just going to have to stick with us to find out. As always, guys, we begin with the dive cam over here. So, guys, do you like the new angle of the dive cam? Get to see a lot more of what's going on my desk. So, what I'm going to do is first, let's open this up. So, brand new packaging with Innokin stuff these days, right? Ever since the Oceanus, a lot of stuff has come in this book-type style setup. I really dig that. So, when we open this up, this side says accessories, this side says innovation inside. So, really quick, just to go over the accessories over here. Right, things have been a lot more simplified. You know, a lot of things in here are more intuitive. You have your basic, you know, tank band over here, and then your USB cable, and then instead of having your typical instruction manual, you have kind of like a quick guide type of chart thing that shows you, you know, all the functions and how to use the item and its setups and stuff. And what's really keen about this thing is that, like, you know, you could shove the tabs in here like so, okay, and then it could be a little desk display. It's kind of neat. Yeah. Okay, so other than this, you also have a drip tip adapter over here with a couple of O-rings. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and set this stuff aside, and let's look at the other side over here where it says innovation inside. So here's the innovation. I taste Kroma. I have this one in a black and white. I also have a solid black one just ready for giveaway later. So the black and white one, you know, definitely dig this setup, you know, very Stormtrooper-ish. Some of you who already own a regular Kroma will notice what the differences are right away. Now, this one, okay, is going to come with the Krios tank, okay? So if we look over here, Krios, C-R-I-O-S. Okay, that's what's engraved over here. Very difficult to see on camera because of the shine, and plus this thing is in black. Spare backup glass tank over here, and then another spare coil. So the coil that's used inside, unlike the Scion tank, it toggles between using a single coil or 3 mini coils, right? The 3 mini coils, I believe, is the higher resistance, and then the lower resistance one uses the single coil. So this one is just going to be a pure single coil system over here. At least that's the only coils that I received. And if I had to compare the two as far as the way they vape, this one, not as airy as the Scion tank. That's basically all I could say about it. Okay, they pretty much vape the same. As far as, like, you know, gas guzzling and whatever, it's pretty much the same. Also 2 mil capacity over here. Airflow, you know, psychoptic airflow, very well done. It doesn't free spin. It stops when you need it to. Okay, and then as far as the drip tip over here, we could remove the drip tip to go ahead and apply the drip tip adapter over here from the baggie, and like so. Then we can go ahead and put on any of our own 510 drip tips. Bam. Okay. Again, definitely, you know, with the adjustment over here, you will be able to do both mouth to lung or direct lung hits. As far as the improvement of this one, I would say the improvement is pretty much just only on the 510 pin over here. Okay, if I had to hold this a little bit closer to the camera for you guys to see what's going on, definitely the 510 pin is now protruding a hairline. Okay, so I like that. I'm pretty sure, you know, Innokin has picked up on all the complaints before, right? Because on the Scion tank it wasn't doing this, and then they fixed it later on the later batches, and then this one with the new Krios tank, the pin is definitely protruding. Okay, it doesn't you know, dent in with pressure or anything like that, so I like that. It stays exactly where it is, so it's got a really nice level to it. To be honest, you know, it's a very nice, it vapes well. It really does vape well. Not really any leaking or any issues, no spitbacks or anything. Vapor production is great, flavor is great on this thing. Few small gripes, okay? I'm not even too sure if they're exactly gripes. The first one, definitely a gripe for me personally, right, is the fill port method. Okay, now I've said this before, right? Other viewers may not have noticed this or may not agree or whatever, but I personally think that the top fill system, although, you know, very easy to go ahead and put, like, you know, your Gorilla bottles, Unicorn bottles, glass droppers, anything like that, and then fill the thing, right? But again, when you put the cap back on this way and then you screw things down, you add pressure to the tank. Okay, so I was, if anything, I still had a little bit of juice in here. I was kind of reluctant to do this, but, you know, as I screw this thing back, okay, at least I'm holding it like this, okay, it's pushing juice into the coils. Okay, so my first couple of pulls, yeah, this thing is going to be slightly on the flooded side. Now if I had the juice filled up all the way, I definitely just flooded the coils really bad. Okay, so you know, there's not really any fix for that, and that's why I don't like this type of fill port system. It seems as if like it's big, it's convenient and stuff like that. True, the filling portion of it is convenient, but then, you know, you kind of flood your coils every single time. The only good part that I like about it is when you have a brand new fresh coil in here, and then you know, you put your coil in and then you fill this thing up to the brim, and then you close the cap. The pressure will help prime your coils right away so that it's ready to vape instantly, you know what I mean, rather than, you know, trying to prime your coils manually. So that's all I have to say about the Krios tank. Other than that, vapes well, great flavor, great vapor production, but gotta stop doing this type of, I don't care how it's done or what you do, you gotta find a way to stop adding pressure to the tank when you reseal the cap. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. You know, if that issue is solved, then I think, you know, it's a great tank. The other gripe that I was going to talk about is pretty much, you know, make or break for certain people, which is the fact that, will this thing in the future come with an RBA section? You know what I mean? It's a plus and a minus thing, because the truth is this, right? A lot of people are going to want an RBA section, but my thoughts on different sub-tanks, right, is that, like, not all sub-tanks was designed to put an RBA section in there. If you guys think back to the Crown tank or whatever, right, it was a wonderful tank. It was a wonderful tank as a sub-tank, but then everybody was like, RBA section, RBA section, RBA section, because you didn't want to spend, like, you know, $1 million on ink cartridges, like, constantly trying to you know, keep up you know, ammunition around, right? So they went ahead and then they made a rebuildable system in there, but then it didn't vape nearly as good as a replaceable coil. You see what I'm saying? So you know, if you design an atomizer, right, I'm not saying it's not out there. I personally haven't seen it yet, but I'm not saying it's not out there. It's definitely a dream to be chased, right? Is that, like, you know, if it's rebuildable, it's got to vape really good after you rebuilt it, right? If it's using replaceable coils and you could rebuild it, right? If the performance of the rebuildable is not nearly as good, then it's really forced and it's kind of moot, you know what I mean? You might as well have gotten this tank specifically for that travel reason, specifically because, you know, you're going to be using replaceable coils, you're going to be out and about, you don't have time to, you know, take stuff apart and fiddle with things or whatever. You keep your rebuildable atomizers at home, you know what I mean? So that those things are going to be, you know, you have your super coils in there, you have your you know, parallel coils, your you know, Clapton coils and things like that. While, you know, stuff like this, it's meant for using replaceable coils and on the go about it. You know what I mean? So to me, it's not really that much of a gripe that the fact that this thing didn't come with like a replaceable, a rebuildable portion inside. Okay, it's good when stuff comes with a rebuildable portion, but when you rebuild it and it's not nearly as good as a replaceable coil, then what's the point? I just spent extra money for no reason. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's move on with the review and talk about the item itself. Okay, so this is the mod, and what is the difference between this mod and the old mod? So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to break out the old mod, right, and show you guys side by side what's going on. So this was the Kroma that came with the Slipstream tank over here, okay? And the Slipstream tank basically allowed the tank to sit inside of the device, right? While over here we have more of a flush mount system, so that this thing being a 24 millimeter atomizer, you would be able to spin this on and it would be flush, as opposed to this one. I believe this was more like a 20 millimeter, right? Like a 19 or 20, 21 even, right? You just had to intentionally use very small stuff in order to sit this thing onto it. However, it's not like this one, the original Kroma that came with the Slipstream tank, didn't come with a adapter, right? So you would put the adapter over here and then tighten this thing down with like the tool that it came with, or tighten it down with like a coin, maybe a quarter or something like that, right? And then you would still go on about with your business with, you know, taking larger atomizers like so, a 24 millimeter one, and then spin it on here. See, still looks pretty much the same, right? So what is the difference between the two? In my opinion and what I've seen, pretty much exactly that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to you know, turn them both on for you over here. Okay, so 1 2 3 4. Okay, so 1 3 to turn this one on like so, and then, you know, have these both on at the same time, right? So you can see that like the placement between the two, right, is just a little bit different. Okay, so you know, you have your color like this, you have this one like this with the iTaste over here, and then the iTaste says it over here, like so, you know. Other than that, the button is a little bit higher, the button is a little bit lower on this side. Okay, same USB cable at the bottom. Pretty much the same chip. As far as, you know, what it can fire, what it can do, going up to 75 watts, they both go up to 75 watts. I went through all of my emails that were sent to me by Innokin to see exactly, you know, where the difference is, and I try to like really scrutinize this thing very closely as far as functionality and you know, how many clicks to do what, changing between like nickel, titanium, and stainless steel. It is the same mod. It is pretty much the same mod. Okay, so what do I have to say about that? If you already own a Kroma, I don't know why you would get a Kroma-A, because it's really not that much difference, and you have the adapter over here, right? If you don't already have a Kroma-A is still a pretty nice pickup, because I still like these mods, mainly because it says what it is, and it is what it says. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. When we put these things on the meter, right, and then blast it at the 75 watts with the coils that it's meant for, you really do get 75 watts out of these things. Okay, so I dig that about these little guys. They're no BS. Okay, you get exactly what you paid for. Another thing is that both battery life is exactly the same. You get 2,000 mAh on this one, you got 2,000 mAh on this one. So it's the same mod, sort of, you know. So to me, I kind of sort of would like to hear an explanation from Innokin of why they wanted to do this and then pair it along with the Krios tank. You know what I mean? Krios tank, I feel as if, like, you know, does you know, have its place. I feel as if this thing probably should have been paired up with the Oceanus, as opposed to, you know, coming out with both the MVP and the Coolfire 150, right? Those all came with the Scion tank. So when the Oceanus came out, that could have been paired up with, you know, the Krios tank, and that would have been pretty cool. As far as this little guy is concerned, I like this. I also like this. They're just not too much different. You know what I mean? If I had to pick one, I would definitely pick, you know, more of the flush kind over here, because, you know, I wasn't too crazy about, like, you know, things being able to sit inside. But then again, with the adapter, it fixes this situation, you know. So what's the big deal? You know what I mean? I just don't see the big deal into both of them. Okay, so with that said, let's go over to the screen cap to take a look at this thing real quick. Okay, so here we are at the screen cap, and this is the Kroma-A. This is pretty much the only information that I was really able to find online right now. Okay, I don't know exactly how much this is going to go for, because I don't see any of the major stores picking it up just yet. My Vapor Store, Vapor DNA, blah, 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 whatever. At the moment, they just have like the original Kroma still going for $50, right? So how much the Kroma-A is going to go for, I don't know. At best, I'm thinking maybe $10 more. But that's just my speculation, okay? As far as, you know, the stuff, the abilities, the things over here, you know, looking at charts like this, looking at exactly what it says over here, 24 millimeter, 510, blah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. With the old Kroma, with the adapter on top, you could do 24 millimeter on a 510, exactly, no problem. Both, again, 2000 mAh LiPo battery inside, stainless steel, nickel and titanium with dry hit protection. The old Kroma has it as well. 75 watts. The old Kroma does 6 to 75 watts as well. I really, guys, couldn't find much of a difference other than slightly cleaner aesthetics on the Kroma-A. Okay, so again, you know, let's come back up to the FaceTime, and let me give you my final thoughts on this. So guys, like I said before, if you already own a regular Kroma, you know, it's perfectly fine. As far as the chip inside, like, it does everything that the new Kroma does. If you're looking to get yourself a Kroma, which I think is a pretty decent mod, okay, then yeah, definitely I would get the new one, because I think the Krios tank was better than the Slipstream tank. The Krios tank itself, other than the fill port method and whatever, a lot of tanks are like that, you know what I mean? So if you check out, like, you know, the Serpent Mini, you know, a lot of different tanks right now has the same type of fill port method, ever since, you know, back with the first Crown tank, right? Which I like. I thought it was super comfortable, super you know, friendly and easy to use with the top fill method. However, once I collected a lot of these tanks, I started to realize that, like, every single time, once I do the refill on the refill, right, it's adding too much pressure into the tank, and it's flooding my coils every single time that, you know, I refill the tank again. So that is all for this item spotlight. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. As always, we say here on PVA, question everything, do your homework, and vape clever, everyone. Take care. Ah, you thought the review was over. So, as I said before, okay, let's go back to the dive cam, and I do have a brand spanking new Kroma-A in solid black to give away. Okay, so all you have to do is like the video, subscribe, and answer this question. What did Darth Vader exactly say to Luke after Luke said that he killed his father? Leave your answers in the comments below, and we will pick the winner at the next item spotlight.